everybody, welcome to Language Arts Tips and Tricks Thursday. Got a short video for you today. Just want to talk a little bit about setting reading goals. So every year in January, usually I try to set a reading goal, and I usually base it off the year before. So a couple years ago, before I started teaching, I always tried to read my age in books. So once I started teaching, that goal got a little difficult because I realized I couldn't read 20 plus, 30 plus books a year with all the stuff I had going on with managing my classroom. So I eventually tiered that down a little bit, and 15 tended to be my goal for the next couple years after that, so about 15 books. So of course, with quarantine and all that fun stuff this year, I've read my age plus in books this year. So I don't know if that's going to affect my goal next year at all. We'll have to wait and see. But that's a fun type of goal to have when you're reading. So let's say that you're a really big reader. You read lots of books every single year, and you want to hit a specific goal. So if you're 12 years old and you want your goal to be, I want to read 12 books this year, that might be a pretty easy goal for you to hit, especially if you read 12, 15, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20 books a year, then that might not be the right goal for you until maybe you're a little older. So I say sort of take the number of books you read the year before, either add 5 to it, add 10 to it, whatever you really think works for you. So the whole point of this is to try to challenge yourself into reading more and more great books. Now, the one thing a lot of people ask me is, well, do graphic novels count? Do manga count? Do a book I've read 4 times and I'm reading it for a 5th time, does that count? Yeah, why wouldn't it, right? You're still reading and you're still working towards that goal. Another one is, do audiobooks count? Of course they do. Okay, so if you're reading or you're taking in some type of content that deals with like a novel or with a book, then I don't see why that wouldn't count towards a reading goal. So these are the things that you should keep in mind. So number 1, you want to make sure that your goal is feasible. If you only read 5 books last year, maybe you want to stick with that, then maybe you want to try to read 5 more books again, maybe 5 plus 1. So you could say, I read 5 books last year, this year I want to try to read 6. That's your goal, right there. If you only read 1 book last year, then strive to read 2 this year. Always try to bump it up every single year. Make it a little bit more than the year before, because that means you're actually challenging yourself and it's something that you really want to accomplish. One thing that really, really helps me when it comes to my reading goals is using a website called Goodreads. Goodreads actually allows you to set a reading goal every year, and then it sort of tracks your reading as it goes. So let's take a look at that really quick. So this is Goodreads. It gives you updates from your friends if you're friends with anybody, and it also says what you're currently reading up here. And then here's Reading Challenge. As you can see, I've completed it twice over. Let me go ahead and click on View Challenge. So as you can see, here is my list of books that I've read so far this year. My goal was to read 15, and I read 37, and I'm still reading because I still have 102 days left of this year. So I want to make sure that I keep beating this, because then who knows what my goal next year will be. The other cool thing about this is you can also look at your past challenges. So you can see View More here. So you can see all of my reading challenges in the past year. So as you can see, in 2018 I completed it, 2014 I completed it, but the years that you don't see, I probably didn't complete my challenge because I probably went above what I knew that I could do. So yeah, here's my year 2019 in books. And this is just the coolest thing ever. It gives you sort of your statistics. I read 3,002 pages across 13 books. The shortest book I read was 102. The longest book I read was 368. The average length of the books I read were 230 pages. So we see sort of the most popular book, the least popular book on these. Of course, all these statistics come from Goodreads. So we have the highest rated book, and then we scroll through the books that we read last year, which is pretty cool. So as you can see, I didn't read that many books last year. I only read 13 out of 20. So I definitely beat my goal for this year, which is pretty cool. So if you're interested, ask your parents if you can sign up for Goodreads. I think it's a really great website because not only does it allow you to track your reading goals, it also, it's being a little slow today, it also lets you read reviews from different books. So let's go ahead and click on the book I'm currently reading, Mighty Dynamo. So it tells you, I think I showed you this in last week's video, it gives you a summary of the book, gives you some reviews from like publications and things like that. And then we have sort of like fan reviews. So people down here who've read the book, they rate the books here. So these are just regular old people that are rating the books here. And if you want to rate a book, you can do that too. So it's actually pretty cool. There's also some info about the authors. Some authors are actually on Goodreads, so you can actually contact them if you have any questions or things like that, which is really cool. So that is Goodreads. If you want to set a reading goal, the first thing you need to think about is, how many books did I read last year? How many books did I read over the summer? How many books do I feel like I can read now that I'm in middle school? You know, so you really want to take a whole bunch of things in consideration. So like, for example, last year I thought I could read 20 books. I clearly didn't read 20 books, so I brought it down to 15 for this year. And of course, with how crazy this year's been, I was able to go over my goal by more than half, which is pretty cool. So think about that. I would always go on the low end, and then you surprise yourself. But still, if you've only read 1 or 2 books in the past year or so, try to challenge yourself. Maybe instead of saying, I'm going to read 2 books this year, read 3. Okay? That's always a good idea, to try to really challenge yourself. And for my big readers that read 20, 30 books every single year, keep going. And if you need some book recommendations, let me know, because I can help you out there. So if you have any questions about setting a reading goal, or if you need some help setting your own reading goal, feel free to leave that question in the comments, and I will help you out the best I can. So that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you tomorrow. It's almost the weekend for First Chapter Friday. Bye!